Hi, everyone. This is Mission 919, your YouTube channel devoted to achievement, prosperity, and well being in the African world. And today we're going to talk about demographics. In 1900, it's estimated that there were roughly 120 million people on the African continent. And today, the estimates are there are between 1.3 and 1.4 billion people on the continent. So that's quite an amazing level of growth. That's double roughly what the population was in the 1980s. So I just want to give you a couple of examples of some of the growth stats. So in 1975, the country of Angola in southwest Africa, a country about the size of Texas, in 1975 had a population of roughly 7.5 million. Today, the population is over 31 million. So that represents a quadrupling of the population in the last 44 years. Another interesting example is the Democratic Republic of the Congo, known as Zaire in 1960 when it achieved independence. And at that time, it had roughly 15 million people. Today, the DRC, as it's usually known as, Democratic Republic of the Congo, has over 87 million people, and in the next year or two, that figure will reach 90 million, certainly. Some of the largest countries in terms of population are, of course, Nigeria, which just passed the threshold of 200 million people. Egypt, with over 100 million, about 104 million. Ethiopia, with about 101 million. And then we have, like I said, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And below them in population are Tanzania at 56 and Kenya at 52. So, why is this important? Well, first of all, it represents the repopulation of the African continent after centuries of depopulation, both during the centuries of forced migration, the Atlantic and Arab slave trades, and then also during colonialism. There were at least areas of depopulation. So this recovery of population is one of the main achievements of the independence era since 1956, 1957, call it 1960. So that's one thing. Now, what are the implications of this population growth? Well, for one thing, it means that the potential of the markets represented by this population are growing. The larger population one has, the larger potential internal demand among that population for all kinds of goods and services. And then the other related aspect to that is the benefits of infrastructure. Now, let's say you have two towns of little towns. Let's say 1,000 people each, and so let's say they're 50 miles apart. Now, what does it cost to build a road or lay some track and have a train connect these two small towns of 1,000 people each? It's pretty significant, and the potential returns are probably somewhat limited. Okay, now if you take a city of 1 million people and another city of 1 million people and they're 50 miles apart, well, then the calculus with respect to building a road or a train track and having train service between those two cities of 1 million each is quite a completely different calculus. And so this is part of the implication of the rising population on the African continent, that the infrastructure requirements um, to bring modern transportation, electricity, water, and so forth, internet service, uh, are um, are are extensive, are vast, but the potential rewards are also vast. Um, I'll just give you I'll give you an example about what this population growth could mean. So if we look at the east coast of Africa, the coast that borders the Indian Ocean, we look at Egypt, we look at Ethiopia and Eritrea combined. um, Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, and South Africa. If you add all those populations together, you get something, I think it's on the order of maybe 350 to 400 million at presently. In the next 15 to 20 years, that will go up to probably 600 million. Um, so those populations, all with access to the Indian Ocean, represent a potentially huge market for all kinds of goods and services, tourism, etc. Now, if you add that to the populations that in the countries that are also abut or adjacent to the Indian Ocean, the Arabian Peninsula, Iran, Pakistan, India, Indonesia, even South East Asia, you're talking about upwards of 2.5 to 3 billion people, at least in the next 15, 20 years. So this is really the heart of the center of the world population, really, and the economic potentials are tremendous. A city like Dar es Salaam on the Indian Ocean, if you sail due east or fly due east, you run right into Jakarta. So the possibilities of trade, tourism, manufacturing, all kinds of connections between these countries is quite amazing. So, so basically, what I wanted to say was that the recovery of the population on the African continent is one of the major advances or achievements, lays a foundation for future progress, and it's something that I think will be becoming will garner more and more attention as the years go by. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Until the next time, in the name of the ancestors and the unborn, who are the same, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.